Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is Jay from Coding with Jaybird, where I upload weekly tutorials to help build your confidence in coding. Today we're going to have a look at logical operators and how we use them. Let's get started, shall we? I've opened my logical operators folder, in which I've created a logical operators.html file, and you can see that here in the browser on the right. And I'm linking it to the styles.css style sheet and the main.js JavaScript file. All right, let's start coding in this file. So what are logical operators? Well, they're similar to comparison operators, which we learned about last week, in that logical operators compare the left operand with the right operand, or the left expression with the right expression. In order to demonstrate this, I'm going to create some variables with Boolean values, as well as some variables with some integer values. So let's start with our Boolean ones. I'll create 4 variables. Let A equals true. Let B equals true. Oops. Let C equals false. And let D equals false. And then we'll create some integer values as well. Let X equals 3. Let Y equals 5. And lastly, let Z equals 9. And we're going to use these values as comparisons to demonstrate the 3 different logical operators. Let's start with our first one, called the logical AND operator. And the symbol for this is AND. Now this operator returns true if both operands, meaning the left and the right expression on either side of the operator, are true, else it returns false. I'm going to display a message in the console just for some clarity, and we'll call this logical AND operator with the AND symbol. All right, let's practice some conditions with the AND operator. So we'll start with comparing A, which has a value of true, and C. Now, A is true and C is false. So we're going to get a false value. And the reason this returns false is because both A and C must be true in order for the result to be true. And we can see the result here in the browser. Let's compare A and B. Now both A and B hold the value of true, so we expect this to return true. And it does. Now let's try comparing B with C. So B and C. Now B is true and C is false. So unless both conditions are true, this will result in a false. And once again, we can see that here in the console. All right, now let's compare some integers. So I'll compare 2 different conditions. I'll check to see if X is less than Y, and I'll check to see if X is less than Z. Now let's see, what would that give us? X is less than Y. Well, that's saying 3 is less than 5, which is true. And X is less than Z, meaning 3 is less than 9, which is also true. So this is a true and true. This should result in a true, and it does. All right, let's have a look at the logical OR operator next. Now this operator uses the pipeline symbol. Now this logical OR operator is a bit different. It returns true if either of the operands is true. And it returns false if both are false. So let's have a look. And again, I'm just going to output a little title into the console. Logical OR operator with our pipeline symbol. Now let's test out the OR condition with some Boolean values first. So let's have a look. I want to compare A with C. So I'll say A or C. Now A is true and C is false. So as long as A or C are true, this will return true. as we can see here in the console. Next, let's try comparing C or D. Now both C and D are false, so this comparison should give us a value of false, and it does. Now I want to test out some conditions with integers as well. So what I'll do is I'll compare two values. So I'll have one value there, and I'll say or another value. And in the first one, let's put in the condition y is greater than x. And on the right condition, so the right operand, let's put in y is greater than z. Now, is y greater than x? Y is greater than x because 5 is greater than 3. And is y greater than z? No, y is not greater than z. So we have a true or false. And because one of these is true, this will return true. And we can see that here in the console. Lastly, let's test out one more condition. So again, I'll put in two operands with an or symbol, comparing them. And in the first one, let's test out z is less than x or z is less than y. Now, 9 is not less than 3, and 9 is not less than 5. So we have two falses, false or false. So since neither of these are true, this will return a false. And we can see the result of false here in our console. Now let's have a look at our last type of logical operator called the logical not operator. This one is demonstrated with the exclamation mark symbol. And the logical not operator returns true if the operand is false. So it basically flips the result, and it returns false if the operand is true. All right, so let's again console log our title, logical not operator. Let's demonstrate the logical not operator with our Boolean variables first. So what I'll do is I'll console log not A. Now A has a value of true, so not true should result in the opposite, which is false. And if I save that, we can see false here in the console. Next, let's see what happens if we do a console log not C. Now C, as we know, is false. And if C is false, not C or not false should flip it, and we should get a resulting value of true. And we do. We should also test this out with our integer variables. So let's test this out with a console log not, and in here I'll put a condition of y double equals y. So y, which has a value of 5 equals 5, or y equals y. So this is true. And not true should equal false. Lastly, let's try combining some of our logical operators. So if I were to console log, and in the console log, I'm going to say x is greater than y, and x is less than y. Well, what would we get? X has a value of 3. 3 is not greater than 5, which is the value of y. So this is false. And x is less than 5, or meaning 3 is less than 5. This part is true. So we have a false and a true. When I save this, this should give us a false value. And it does. Now the good thing with the not operator is we can actually reverse this result. So if I were to add another bracket in here and group this together as one operand and place an exclamation mark or a not symbol in front of it and save it, I actually reverse the value, and you can see here the value has now become true. Logical operators combined with comparison operators can help us make decisions in our JavaScript code. I hope you enjoyed learning about logical operators. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so I can continue to make more awesome coding videos for you in the weeks to come. If you haven't seen the comparison operators video from last week, be sure to check that out as well. Until next week, keep on coding.